Good afternoon, friends. Another important circular pertaining to multiple refund related issues. So there are four broad parameters which is being clarified by recent circular number 197 dated 17th of July 2023. Let me share the circular and we will discuss all 4 pointers for which clarification is being issued. Now look at this circular, and the circular is 197, as I have said. Now the first point in this circular is the reference of 2B. We know under section 54 subsection 3 that the refund of input tax credit pertaining to input and input services on zero rated supply. And we have seen in the past that the department used to cross-check and verify all relevant tax invoices of your supplier, and that is getting auto-populated in GSTR 2A of the recipient, who is in turn filing refund claim on zero-rated supply. And they're zero-rated export of goods or services and supply to SEZ unit or developer. Now, we all know that the relevance of 2A is no more applicable from 1st January 2022. It is GSTR 2B. Hence, this clarification is being issued. If you look at para 5 of circular number 135, there was a reference of GSTR 2A. So I'm not reading all, I've given the background. In the same context, now what they are saying, the refund which you are filing on or after 1st January 2022, it would be linked with GSTR 2B. That is what the clarity for getting refund of input tax credit, input and input services. There is no refund of capital goods under refund of ITC model. Effect from 1st January 2022, reference of 2B going to be important. And to that extent, whatever circular is being issued in the past got modified and amended. Now, so it is applicable for the tax period of January 2022 and onwards. Second clarification. There is undertaking you need to file for filing your refund claim. So requirement of undertaking in form number RFD01. You're filing undertaking. And this undertaking was as per that circular, and we have to say, yes, I hereby undertake. So the person applicant who is filing a refund claim, he's saying, I hereby undertake to pay back, refund the money to the government, amount of refund sanctioned along with interest in case it is found subsequently that the requirement of clause C subsection 2 of section 16. So section 16 subsection 2 clause C is to ensure your supplier must have paid taxes either through e-cash ledger or through e-credit ledger. With subsection 2 of section 42, this section 42 subsection 2 was referring to provisional credit concept. You know that initially there was a concept of GSTR 1 by supplier auto-populated in 2A of the recipient going to file GSTR 2. if any addition, modification, or deletion done by the recipient gets auto-populated in GSTR 1A for the supplier, supplier need to accept or reject to file GSTR 3. And that was the matching concept, ITC matching concept. But GSTR 2 and 3 never got implemented. But this 2 and 3 relevant section 42, which is there in that undertaking, which you are undertaking. So 42 now got omitted from 1st October 2022. Hence, the question was, if 42 itself, section 42 itself got omitted from 1st October 2022, what is the relevance of giving undertaking under 42? To that extent, it needs to be omitted. And that is what it is being explained in para 2.3. So you can read to get more clarity. Section 42 of CGST Act has been omitted from 1st October 2022 by notification number reference is being given. Further, an amendment has also been made in section 41, wherein concept of provisionally accepted ITC has been done away with. Besides, 2 and 3 has also been omitted from CGST rules. In view of this, reference to section 42, 2 and 3 is being deleted from said para in the circular, as well as from the said undertaking. Para 7 of circular number 125, dated 18th November 2019, and undertaking in RFD 01 may therefore be read as follows. So reference of 42 is being omitted, but section 16 subsection 2 clause C is continuing, meaning thereby you are undertaking that your supplier must have paid taxes either through e-cash ledger or e-credit ledger when you are filing your refund claim of ITC on your zero-rated supply. That is what the meaning all about. So going further, point number 3, manner of calculation of adjusted total turnover. Under sub-rule 4, rule 89 of CGST rule, you know that refund of ITC for zero-rated supply is being permitted under rule 89. And sub-rule 4 provides the formula calculation. So export turnover divided by adjusted total turnover. You must be recalling nominator is export, denominator your total adjusted turnover, adjusted total turnover. So they are giving an consequent to explanation inserted in sub-rule 4 of rule 89 by notification number 14/2022. The simplistic meaning what they are saying that and that is what they are clarifying. Doubt was raised, which you can read in para 3.1. I've colored it for your easy digest. Whether the value of goods exported, it is with reference to goods exported out of India, has to be considered as per explanation in rule 89 sub-rule 4 for the purpose of calculation of adjusted total turnover in the formula under the said sub-rule. Now, what they are saying that the same value of zero-rated or export supply of goods, so pertaining to goods they are referring, as calculated as per the amended definition of turnover of zero-rated supply of goods, need to be taken into consideration while calculating turnover in a state or UT, and accordingly in adjusted total turnover. So whatever value you are considering for zero-rated export of goods need to be considered for calculation of adjusted total turnover. That is what the simplistic meaning it is coming out. So coming to the last clarification of this particular circular, it is very interesting that admissibility of refund, where an exporter applies for refund subsequent to compliances of provision under sub-rule 1, rule 96A. So what is this rule 96A? Quickly, we have to really read it and understand there are two parameters. When you're exporting goods, there's time period prescribed. That within that time period, you need to export the goods. So maybe you have executed bond or LUT and not followed payment of IGST route. So bond or LUT being executed without payment of IGST, wherein you claim the refund of ITC, right? But time period is being defined. Within that time period, you need to export the goods, or you need to receive the money in convertible foreign exchange for the export of services. But what happened if within the stipulated time period, if you have not done the export of goods or export of services, what to be done? And there are time period prescribed for export of services, realization. So for export of services, what is important condition? You must be knowing supplier is in India, recipient outside India, place of supply outside India, supplier and recipient not merely establishment of distinct person, and you should receive the money in convertible foreign exchange unless otherwise permitted by RBI. But there is a time period within which you need to get the exports proceed when we talk about export of services. So in that context, you need to read this particular clarification. What they are saying, where exporter have voluntarily made the payment of IGST along with applicable interest in case where goods could not be exported within the defined time period, or payment of export of services could not be received within the time frame as per RBI guidelines, as prescribed in clause A and B, as the case may be, of sub-rule 1, rule 96A. So maybe you did not export within the time period, or you could not receive the money within the defined time frame for export of services, but there may be a possibility that thereafter you have exported. Thereafter, you have received the exports proceeds for export of services. So clarification was sought. So what they are saying, clarification is being sought as to whether subsequent to export of said goods, or as the case may be, realization of payment in case of export of services, the said exporter are entitled to claim not only refund of unutilized ITC on account of export, but also refund of IGST and interest so paid in compliance of the provision of sub-rule 1, rule 96A. Quite obvious. Though I have executed LUT, could not export within the specified time period. First of all, department insists you must pay IGST now. So if I have paid IGST along with interest and subsequently I exported the same, then quite obvious, being exporter, I would be demanding refund of IGST along with interest, right? So we'll read whether refund permissible or not permissible. One situation. Another situation, that no, I did not pay IGST, but of course, after the specified time period, I've exported the goods. So export is not in doubt. Can I go for refund of ITC That is what the second point coming out. So these are the two important clarification. For services, you have not received the money within the defined time period. Then what happened? You may have paid IGST along with interest, but subsequently you realize the money. So can I really go back for refund of IGST paid? And interest also my demand. Let's see later whether clarified or not. If I'm not paid IGST, let's assume, then of course refund of ITC route should be open to me, available to me. This is what we need to look at, what clarity given in this particular circular. They're saying it is mentioned in sub-rule 1, rule 96A. A registered person availing option to export without payment of IGST. It's required to furnish a bond or LUT without payment of IGST prior to the export and binding himself to pay the tax due along with applicable interest within a period of 15 days after the expiry of 3 months. So if you have not exported within 3 months, then you must pay the liability IGST within 15 days. And this 3 months period can further be extended if allowed by the commissioner from the date of issue of invoice for export. Second, 15 days after expiry of 1 year or such further period as allowed by the commissioner for export of services. That is what, and you must receive money in convertible foreign exchange unless otherwise permitted by RBI. So this is what two proposition you may have paid IGST after this stipulated time period. So you'd be looking for refund of IGST. If you have not paid IGST, but you did complete your export transaction, refund of ITC, that's what you'd be looking for, right? Look at the clarity given. Now, in this context, it has been clarified, para 45, circular number 125. And this was very clarificatory in nature. As per this para, very clear that the concerned officer should not insist you to make payment of IGST. Should not. Rather, they should allow you extended time period to export goods or receive the money for export of services. Please read it, which will clarify the position. Export have been zero rated under IGST so long as goods have been actually been exported, even after a period of 3 months. Payment of IGST first and then claiming refund at subsequent date should not be insisted upon. So departmental officer, field officers should not insist you that you must pay IGST. In such cases, jurisdictional commissioner may consider, as against may, they could have written shall, consider granting extension of time limit for export as provided in the said sub-rule on post facto basis, keeping in view that the fact and circumstances of each case, the same principles should be followed in case of export of services. So in this given situation, now we have to look at what is the clarification. As long as goods are actually exported, or as the case may be, payment is realized in case of export of services, even if it is beyond the time frame as prescribed, the benefit of zero rated supply cannot be denied to the concerned exporter. Accordingly, it is clarified that in such cases, on actual export of goods, or as the case may be, on realization of payment in case of export of services, said exporter would be entitled to refund of unutilized ITC in terms of subsection 3, section 54 of CGST Act, if otherwise admissible. Clarity number 1, field formation should not insist you to make payment of IGST. If you could not export within 3 months or could not realize money within 1 year for export of services, they should not insist. Subsequently, if you have exported or received the money for export of services, then you are entitled to get refund of ITC under Rule 89, permissible. Rather, Commissioner should allow, looking at the fact of each case, extension of time period. So what is important to be looked at? Export of goods is being made, export of services are being made. A relaxation with a further extension of time period given. IGST should not be demanded. That is what this clarification provided in this particular circular. It may further be noted that refund application in such scenario may be made under the category of excess payment of tax. Wherever you have paid IGST liability, and that is what being clarified here. Look at here, para 4.6, so that you can read the context of para 4.7. It is also clarified in such cases, subsequent to export of goods or realization of payment in case of export of services, as the case may be, said exporter would be entitled to claim refund of IGST so paid earlier on account of goods not being exported, or if the case may be, payment not being realized for export of services within the time frame prescribed. It is further being clarified that no refund of interest. If you have paid interest, then no refund in compliance of Rule 96A, sub Rule 1 shall be admissible. So two possible situations. Either you have paid IGST along with interest after that stipulated time period, but subsequently you have exported or realized the money, then refund of IGST permissible. But if you have paid any interest, that interest refund is not permissible. But somehow you have not paid IGST, let's assume. Then are you entitled for refund of ITC? Subsequently, you have exported the goods after that stipulated time period, 3 months, or realized the money after that stipulated time period of 1 year for export of services. If you have not paid IGST, then quite obvious refund of ITC would be available to you. And that is what it is being explained by this circular. Hope this circular will help you. And this circular is clarifying 4 important broad parameters pertaining to refund. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.